wakati wangu kama upepo mkali, kama huwezi kuzuia, lazima utakumbuka. Wakati wa Mungu humpanda kila mtu, wetu anasubira, andika haya kwenye shajara. Wakati wa Mungu je kujiria, mazingira si kitu yapinge. Wakati wa Mungu ukikujiria, wanadamu sijali apinge. Usichoke ngoja, 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 usichoke ngoja.
Good morning and welcome to Life and Style Relationship Wednesday. We are on This Is Us and I am your host, Chris. You know, on This Is Us, we talk to couples. We get people who have a story to tell, and you could tell us your story too. If you are interested, write us mail, lifeandstyle@media.co.ke, and we could just come to you. Today, I am hanging out with a young couple over here. They've been married for just 1 year, and I came all the way to Raqqa to hang out with Fred and Patricia. I got that right?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, 1 year in marriage, how's that?
Amazing, but challenging too.
Challenging?
Yeah.
I thought the first year is all fun, you know, everything is going okay.
Really? I don't know, but I would say I think you fall in love with personality.
Okay.
But then when you get to marriage, you get the character. And the small, actually I think the challenges are small, but they can get your nerves. Like the salt, you know, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is annoying, you know. Yeah, so small challenges here and there.
Alright.
Yeah.
How long have you people known each other, Fred?
It's been now 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
Were you dating the whole of the 3 years?
No, we've known each other for 1 year before we started dating.
Okay.
Then we dated for 1 year, and then we've been married for 1 year.
Wow, so your life is broken in 3.
Yeah.
1 year, 1 year, 1 year.
Yeah.
So you just were casual friends for a year?
We were having the same church.
Okay.
So that's where we met.
There's something about church and people meeting, you know. So go to church, you might find your partner. Okay, you serving the same church.
Yeah, we were serving the same church, in the same youth ministry, in leadership,
Okay.
and in the praise and worship, both of us singing.
Alright.
So we used to meet every now and then when if there's a youth meeting. We used to meet when there was a practice for praise and worship. We used to meet when there's a service for the whole church. We used to meet and serving in the same altar. So we had a lot of time together.
Roughly how many were you in the team?
Around 30.
30.
30 or so.
So what made you spot her out of 30? My assumption would be that in a singing team, there will be more ladies than men.
Definitely.
Alright.
Yeah.
So what is it that attracted you to Patricia?
First of all, of course, there were those things that I saw in her that attracted me more to her than to the rest.
What are those?
First of all, she was beautiful, and she still is, as you can see. Secondly, I felt I was ready. I was just ready to, you know, I was maturing up and I was ready to stabilize and settle. And when I looked at her, I think she was more mature than the rest that I could consider.
Is that a good reason, Patricia? Is that a good reason for you to hear that this guy is ready and then he thought you were mature? Is that a good reason?
Not good enough for me.
I thought that was for me to look for what I want from her. Then it was for her to judge whether she's okay with that.
So from the point that you knew Patricia was the person you wanted to be with, how did you go about that? You know, your first date, or even just letting her know that she's the person you want to be with?
Well, even before I went to her, or before I had even started approaching her, I was feeling ready. I had taken a break for 2 years from the previous relationship I've had, and I decided that I will not go for any girl until I'm settled, and that is where I will land.
Are there any factors that made you get there within the 2 years, or rather prior to the 2 years? What factors brought you to the place where you felt like you needed to take a break?
Well, I just cleared school
Okay.
and I just found myself a job. So I wanted to first stabilize, establish myself. Of course, I wanted to maybe have 2 or 3 running, even if small, but running businesses.
Okay.
So I wanted to establish myself, and then I will land and be serious. You see, there's no time to chase girls, and then you're trying to to save and waste all the money on dates that will not even work. So for me, I wanted to be ready and sure. So when I found her, and even on my first date, I was so clear. I'm looking for a wife, not just a girlfriend. So.
Did he tell you that on your first date?
Yeah, and I think what I loved more about that first date is he was so sure until you were thinking, go speak to me, and he didn't mention it to me, I loved how sure he was. I want to do this. It's you, not another. I'm like, oh God.
Where was your first date?
Serious?
Where was your first date?
It was in Thika.
Alright.
Yeah.
Outside, a restaurant, in the field, by the road.
It was in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And you just went in straight and told the girl that.
Straight to the point.
Is that romantic?
I don't know, for me, yes. Very.
Because I know the ladies who will say, how can he just come in and speak that forthrightly?
Yeah.
He's got to know me. Interesting how different people are moved by different things. I have a lot of people who I hear when a man comes in and says to them, I'm ready to get married, I want to get married. They're thinking, no, he should first of all want to know me. You didn't feel that he needed to get to know you better?
Okay, for that, we had spent more time together because we were in the same praise worship team, and most of the time.
But you spent time rehearsing.
Yeah,
and
but
learning
most of the
songs.
time what used to happen, we'd finish our practice late.
Okay.
And I need someone to escort me home.
Was that intentional?
Not really. Actually, our pastor was encouraging that. Guys, please make sure all the ladies are home safe, And so once in a while, it would be different guys.
Okay.
But most of the time just happened to be, most of the time,
It was him.
it was him taking me home. And so we knew each other. But even on that date, and I had realized something, that this guy is treating me differently in a way compared to the other people. But on that date, I had no marriage in mind. I was just going for a date. I'm showing up for a date. Yeah, and so him coming straight and telling me that showed like, this guy know what you want. But I wasn't ready for marriage. So to me, I was like, this is too fast, Yeah.
But what is it that, apart from the fact that he was clear about what he wanted, what are the other qualities that you saw in him that made you feel like, well, I could go along with him?
Wow. I think after the first date for me was like, I actually told him many times, at this moment I am pursuing God. And honestly I was,
What do you mean you pursuing God?
I was pursuing God. Like it was that time for you.
I can understand somebody saying they're pursuing their career.
Yes.
I can understand that. So, break that down. What
I
do you
don't know.
mean you
I was
pursuing God?
so serious about my relationship with God, but I didn't need a man at this certain point,
Is that a distraction?
Yeah, it was actually,
I don't believe it was. I don't believe
it
it
was.
was.
And he used to say, we have been pursuing God, and in the process, God has brought you there.
Of course, we were serving, we were still pursuing God. I was still after the heart of God. I was serving and still praying and doing all that.
But then now, both of you still, you still look young. So you got married, settled early. Did that worry your families? Especially like for you. How old were you when you got married?
I got married when I was 25.
25?
Yeah.
And you had dated for 1 year?
Yes.
Or rather, courted?
Yes.
Yeah, for 1 year?
Yeah.
24?
Yes.
Did that worry them? Like you needed to find something else to do first?
Not really. It didn't worry them, by the way. I think as a matter of fact, when I told my mom, I'm bringing someone for an introduction, my mom was like, that's fine. But for my dad, 5 years, holy shit. And actually my mom tells me, she counted my age and said, oh yeah, I think 50 be honest, that is God. And he said, oh yeah, I think it's time. But for every other family, family members were like, yeah, that's fine.
Everybody supported you?
Yeah.
Nobody said you were too young?
Nobody said I was too young, none, actually.
Okay, alright. Did you have that? Anybody telling you, well, you're young or you're marrying somebody who's young?
No, actually my mom was longing for that.
I love your families.
She was my mom and dad were very happy and they were longing for that. Actually, you see the way parents try to teach you, like, why you not bringing they used to ask some tricky questions regarding to my relationship. But for
But
2
you
years,
weren't old. You were not old, no?
I wasn't, but I think they expected me to be taking maybe once in a while a girlfriend, but I was too serious for them.
So they were worried that you didn't seem to be social.
Yeah.
Like you were antisocial. They felt
But
you don't have anybody around you.
They've always known me to be so social, so you are mingled with everyone. Actually, I befriend everyone, so they always known me like that.
Okay.
But for these 2 years, I think they had felt a difference.
All right.
Yeah. So when
Having served in the same group, team, in the same church, you had mostly common friends. The transition, now that you're married, you're not the only one who used to escort her
definitely
before. There are people that she got close to who used to escort her from the team. Then now you get married. How is somebody supposed to transition over there so that the friends are not completely lost, but then there are lines that are now drawn because there's a married woman? How do you do that so that it is seamless?
I think guys were quick to know. We had tried to keep it secret. We had tried to keep the relationship when we were dating secret, but it didn't take long. They eventually knew, because every time she's here, I'm right behind her. When she's coming to do something, I'm right there to help. They had noticed, definitely. But you see, with girls, it's very hard to keep. They will have that, pet name, and they'll call you, babe, and
That's the other people. Okay, herself now.
Yeah,
She will be calling
she'll
you.
call me, and then the guys, probably even without knowing, and the guys will realize, these
There's
guys are
something
dating.
going
So they knew we were
Did that
dating.
change people's attitude towards you? Or there are people who were friendly before, and then when they realize you're dating Fred, they change their attitude? They're not watching, that's why.
Not many, but at least I can remember a few saying, oh, okay, I didn't know it was heading that way. I thought we were pursuing God, because I had told me that.
Okay.
Yeah, like this time I don't want to settle down. This is not what I'm in for. So guys are like, oh, so it has changed, And I'm like, when the right person comes, I think things just flow. Yeah.
All right. How has your 1 year been?
Well, it's been fun.
It's been fun.
More fun, but definitely there are few challenges here and there that arise with time. But you see, we may count them hard right now, but with time, as we continue growing, there are others that will come even harder, so we will not even take the others so seriously. But
You were very clear about you needed to settle.
Yeah.
So you must have had expectations.
Yeah.
What are some of the expectations you had of a family?
Oh, well, as a husband now, I expected that I'll be, from work, I sit down and a cup of tea, food, you see, and I just sit and watch news and... But then that changed, because she had different expectations. So time by time, when we continue talking and knowing each other, what she expected and what I expected, we continued to merge. Know that she needed me to help her, even unhang the clothes, help her in the kitchen, sometimes. So I think I've continually
Was that familiar territory for you? Were you used to doing this kind of stuff?
No, I was actually, it was very rare. I used to cook even when I was living alone, but I expected when I marry, then that's an end to my kitchen. So.
Well, sometimes, and that's very good that it's so genuine, because when people come into things like marriage, then they come with varying and various expectations of each other. And I normally say the most conflict comes from the expectations, and sometimes they're not spoken. Like you just thinking, well, I came from work, I'm expecting to see a meal. And then in her mind, she's thinking, you're coming home, then we're going to cook a meal. And you're just in your first year, and you do what fine. What are your greatest adjustments, Patricia?
Oh my gosh. I think it's the most amazing question for me. Because there are real adjustments, the things you have to adjust. I think I didn't have expectation to say as I got in the marriage, but I think they were unspoken, as you say. Because when you get in, you realize, I think I had. I thought I didn't have any, because after coming in and you are working, I work on Mombasa Road. sometimes traffic is real crazy. And I get at here around 8 sometime and I'm tired. And then you find your husband got home and Saturn is watching TV. Oh my
And he's waiting for you to come and.
I know. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. You know, I feel like I'm getting mad. And I'm like, oh gosh, you're going to have to teach me this thing. It's hard.
And that's just the first year, right? The babies have not even come. That's just the first year.
Yeah.
Is it something about what you're used to? Because when two people come together, those are two different cultures.
Yeah.
There's the culture of where you are at, either your family or people you've grown up with, or just the culture you formed for yourself. And then you've got your own culture coming in. So probably in your culture, I'm not talking about tribal or anything, just your principles that you live by. So you're coming in and you're thinking, I'm coming in to be boss. Well, I know you don't want to say it like that, but that's how you're coming in.
Yeah, it's true.
You're coming in to become boss. And she's thinking she has come into something where she has a friend or a partner. Is it something that was cultural for you that you were not even thinking consciously that you might be putting a burden on her?
I think most of the quarrels we've had since we got married, are based on culture, on the culture that I was brought up in, and the culture and the expectations that are actually the reality that should be happening. Because I was brought up in Moranga, from young age,
Right.
and I was brought up by my uncle, by my grandma and my uncle. And he usually used to come and tell us, kitchen is not for boys, it's not for men, it's for wives. So I had those, that was brought up in me and it was deeply settled. So when I came in and I'm expecting my wife should go to the kitchen and bring me food. And then there are unhung clothes, there are clothes to unhang.
Right.
And some other stuff to be done in the house, your opinion and all that. So I didn't feel like there's a job I'm supposed to be doing in the house.
You thought you just
help
with the bills?
That is what the culture had taught me.
Right.
Until when I got here, and we used to quarrel every now and then about, helping me, I'm getting tired, I want this done, I want tea, she's cooking, I want food, she's out, collecting.
How did that make you feel?
Oh gosh.
Did you ask yourself?
This is real spicy. Like this is not, this is not a faking thing. This is a reality. Like I used to ask myself many times until I asked him, but he also work. It gets to a point where thinking, I have to go to work in the morning. I need help. And then I realized what might be the problem. And I realized, I think modern women have been, women have been empowered a lot, but they're getting married to traditional men. And
Thank you.
to some point, Percy.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I keep on saying that, a lot of ladies keep on forgetting that. And sometimes, because a lot has been done to the women, not too much the men.
Yeah.
We're trying to do that with the men over the past few years, but not so much has been done to the men. So women are raised up in their standard expectation, they're thinking the mentality, but then there's no man to fit that picture. That they had, and then they're expecting the man to just be the man and know everything that they want. So I'm glad you brought up that there's the modern women and the traditional men.
Yeah, but I think I got a place and I started feeling bitter. Because I was thinking, it's just too much. It's just too much. And inside myself, I would tell myself, I need to, we wake up, he wakes up later, they don't make the bed, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, no. Make the bed.
Were you confused about the guy that used to escort you and the guy you were seeing at home?
No.
You felt like the other guy who used to escort you was sensitive.
I know.
And then this guy in here is selfish.
Oh gosh, no, many times. Because I'm thinking, there's a time actually when we were dating, not even once, it was twice. He came to my house, cooked food for me, and I'm coming to work and I'm thinking something is smelling in my house, and really nicely. Just to find there is pork cooked.
Wow.
And I don't know, so I was like, maybe once in a while I'll get, and then you never get that. And someone need to explain what happened, Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion and even sometimes feeling bitter, but then I realized I need to deal with myself. So at some point I told myself some of these things you have to assume.
Okay.
Socks are small, you can pick it wherever it is in the loop.
Not that bad.
Okay, that was one.
But,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm not going there. But having realized that you have different expectations of each other, and you have different values concerning how you run your home, how did you begin to work that, and how are you working that out? Because I know you've not gotten there yet. It's 1 year and it's going to be a lifetime journey. How have you been working out that so that the expectations you have and the realities that you face becomes one thing?
Well, I think the problem with most men is that they still want to keep their egos so high. So they don't want to adjust from what they usually known to be the task of men or their, what they're supposed to be doing in the house. For me, I learned from the experiences we've had when we started growing. Of course, when she gets mad, we could take some time, some cool moments, talking to each other, some hours. But then I'm that guy who don't keep that. I don't want to be in the same house and we're crossing, without talking to each other. Yeah, I don't like that. So with time, even before we go to sleep, I could ask, and I'd want to solve that.
Right.
So the solutions I would get is that I'm not helping. So that the reasons.
What would you do when you're mad? What would you do? Throw a tantrum, throw something all over the place, turn over the house and leave you to work out. What would you do?
I think most of the time I would keep quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to talk. But no, okay, and then later on, maybe I'm thinking, I don't want to talk, but I can text.
Oh, so you would text?
And I text him
That I
very
didn't like.
mad.
While you're in the house or while you're at work?
So then at work, I'm just so mad, and then I go to work and I'm thinking I become better. And it's funny, I'm thinking I feel guilty because I'm so mad in the house. At work I'm so nice. I'm so everybody hi, and I'm like, no, this is wrong, and I text him, I'm mad. Yeah.
But always, I've always tried to stop her. When she's mad and she's texting me, trying to explain what is going on, why she's mad. I will read the text in bold. I feel like she's rude to me, and I don't want that. So anytime she texted me when she's mad, I replied, "Don't solve this in text," or "Please don't text. Let's talk."
But how do you balance that between because different people solve conflicts differently. There are people who are confrontational. They can actually come to your face and tell you, "I don't like this," and they tell it to your face. Then some people are not used to that. They want to express themselves, but they're not used to having a face-to-face confrontation. The easiest place is for them to text. If you block the person from texting, what options do they have? Or has she now adapted to the place of the face-to-face?
That is what I wanted. I always wanted her to get to that point where she's mad. I'm human and I'm grown up. She can just come and tell me, "I'm not happy with this. Can you please change this?" And I will hear. And when we started solving those issues, then I think for a while we've been now solving things well.
You've been better.
Yeah, so she's come to that point where she's solving.
Okay. Now, just talk to me about the importance of communication then in keeping the marriage working.
Now for that one, I think communication is everything, because you need to know where are we, where are we going, what's our plan, and not only that, even when there are challenges here and there.
Right.
Yeah, here's a challenge, how do we go about it, and you're able to solve it, both of them you need. Also when you quarrel, you can't be quiet on each other, for the, you need to solve it, and that calls for communication. And I don't think it's just communication, it needs to be defined, because it's clear communication where both of you come to understanding, because sometimes one can speak, but it's not heard by the other one.
All right. I really appreciate that we have focused a bit on some of the challenges that come, because anybody would assume at 1 year everything is very simple. So that somebody who's watching from over there and they're 1 year old in marriage or 2 years old and they've had a few challenges, adjustments to make, they don't give up. They don't feel like this thing is not working, because everybody or different people are going to have to face those challenges at one point or the other. The main thing is how you deal with them. You see, the problem is never the problem. It's how you look at the problem that maybe the problem. We'll be taking a short break right over now. That's all the time we've had on This Is Us. Again, if you want to be a part of this, write us mail lifeandstyle@standardmedia.co.ke.